Hey investors, Bradley tuning in, and perhaps you've heard of a little project called the Sidewalk Labs. I like to call it the Google City, but it's going to change the way that the waterfront in downtown Toronto looks, and it could potentially change the way we do cities. It has a lot of really fun things coming, a lot of interesting ways of running a city, and I want to share with you some of the highlights that I found, ways that it's going to really impact us. And I want to start off by reading for you the landing page quote of Sidewalk Labs because it really summarizes, without going into detail, what it's trying to accomplish. Sidewalk Labs is reimagining cities to improve quality of life. Growing cities face many challenges: longer commutes, higher rents, fewer opportunities. New technology can help, but people can't afford to wait for digital advances to transform the urban environment. So we're creating a new type of place to accelerate urban innovation and serve as a beacon for cities around the world. So today I'm going to chat with you a little bit about what the Eastern Waterfront would look like, what is the plan for this, and to start all of this off, we did a video not that long ago that was called Why Toronto, something to the effect of why Toronto is synonymous with technology. But what we talked about was through statistics, how Toronto is just cleaning up as far as technology goes on the world stage. And this, I think, is a perfect illustration of how companies like Alphabet, Google, and others are really centralizing Toronto, whether it be because it's cheaper with the dollar or the growth in skilled abilities in the tech sector. All of these things are driving people to our city. And so it's led to this project, the Sidewalk Labs, which is really pretty cool. And of course, there's a lot of division, and we'll get into some of the arguments for and against it and what trends I think will come out of it. But it's a very neat thing and something that I think we should at least know about and have an idea, a grasp of what's going on. So now, for those of you who can see the image, there's a dotted line that this area, the whole area being developed, that's as of the most recent plans, is called the Idea District, the Innovative Development and Economic Acceleration District. And what they've done is they've broken into two phases. The first phase being a very small segment, but really the catalyst to the rest of the development, which would be phase two. And a couple fun facts just before we get started. The plan is to construct all of the buildings in the Eastern Waterfront out of timber. And it's very interesting to me to see that part of this entire project is centralized around a new timber industry and putting Toronto as a leader and therefore Canada as an export leader in timber, which would therefore create a great economic boom in that industry. And they want to build something, I thought this was kind of fun, called fan shells, but over their three main major public spaces, they would be like a giant umbrella, so when it rains in harsh weather, they'd be protected. So a lot of really cool, fun things, and I'm going to get into some of the statistics, some of the actual plans that they have, and you'll get an idea. There's some very neat things where you're like, that's actually very interesting, and then there's very practical applications. So let's get into what they're promising, some of the highlights. Number one, they're projected to create 44,000 direct jobs and $14.2 billion in annual economic impact by 2040. So before I move on, I hope those of you out there that invest in real estate have your ears perked up, because to create a ton of jobs, and when I get into some of the details, you realize they might not be, they're a little more fluffy because a lot of them are run by the project itself, but also the creating of this industry is a great opportunity for people that are looking to invest in our city, and it can really revitalize this area, but again, outside of the challenges of having it be so different. So part of this is a light rail, so they're going to have a investment infrastructure created, but they're also going to relocate, as mentioned, Google's headquarters to one of the locations there, and it's going to be called the Urban Innovation Institute, and will provide $10 million in seed funding to Canadian companies. So also this idea of an incubator, I really like it. A lot of the universities have been picking it up. So they're going to hopefully take Canadian companies and take them to that next level. And I would assume a lot of that would be in the tech world, because everything will be so interconnected, it will be amazing. Also, they're projected to have an $80 million investment, Sidewalk Labs, aka Alphabet, aka Google, in the mass timber industry to help Canada become a global leader. $80 million. And they're talking billions on the other side in the outputs. Now, number 2, climate positive district that cuts greenhouse gases by 89%. So they want to follow something called the passive house movement. Now, I'm not much of an environmentalist, but just doing a quick search, passive house is pretty much a standard of energy efficiency. And so I think they're trying to just set the bar really high. Even though they're not necessary, they've set their own bar. One of the things I think is really neat is heating, cooling, and the hot water will be run on something called a thermal grid. And it captures clean energy sources, also including natural temperatures of the earth for both heating and cooling, which is really neat. So they're trying to apply a lot of these innovative technologies, designing an advanced power grid that uses solar energy, battery storage, and real energy pricing. But also the game plan is to have so much energy that they're able to export it to neighboring buildings in other parts of Toronto, having a positive, they call it a climate positive vision for reducing emissions. So this isn't just dealing with this one area. This is supposed to overflow into the rest of the city. Number 3 has to do with affordability. I found this extremely interesting. When I think of a Google City, I love that title so much more. I should just call it Google City. It's because Google doesn't want their name on it, I guess. But when I think of it, I don't think of affordable housing. I don't think of it. I think of maybe costs being lower, but I don't think of it as an affordability. But part of their plan is to have an inclusive community with 40% of their units at below market rates. Now, I did a video not that long ago talking about inclusionary zoning. And one of the points there was over the last 5 years, only 2% of the homes created and the rentals were below market rates. So this is a huge jump. And they want to improve long-term affordability, and half of all units in one of the areas called Quayside would be purpose-built rentals. Also a big trend right now with a lot of incentives to build in that area, which has helped the rental market downtown considerably. Number 4, more than 3/4, so 77% of all trips will be done by transit, walking, or cycling, and will save an estimated $4,000 per year in transportation costs. I found this really interesting. So what their game plan is, they want to create a mobility package where you don't need a car. Everything is interconnected in this package. And things like traffic signals will be prioritizing pedestrians and transit vehicles. So everything will be smart. A new approach to urban freight is also so cool. I think this might be my favorite part of the whole deal, is instead of just delivering products through truck to different areas and stores and whatnot, they will they'll consolidate all their deliveries into a neighborhood hub that redistributes them via a below grade tunnel system, reducing truck traffic on local streets. So everything will come into this hub, and then everything will shoot out to where they got to go, which is the deliveries are consolidated. They're all scheduled and planned. A 91% increase in pedestrian space. Also, one of the things they want to do is make dynamic spaces. So they'll have roads all of a sudden turn into a public space depending on a lot of the tools that will be at their disposal and understanding and having just smart city planning.